Hey Professor, it's John from Group 2. I'll be doing a quick demonstration of some of the work completed for Module 3 in the first half of Sprint 2. To recap, we had spent the last two modules getting the app hosted, laying down the bare bones for some of the common page elements, and establishing a database connection to a cloud database. We had pretty much left off at a blank code page, and that's what you're seeing on the screen now. What I'll do in the demonstration is show off some of the features I worked on in the live app, and then go back and explain some of the work in code. So what you're currently seeing is what a user sees when they first visit our app. I'll go ahead and register as a new user so we can verify that our services are working correctly, the database is being accessed, and we can log in with our newly created user. What you're currently seeing is the working version of our current home screen. I went ahead and applied the styling and page elements that we had worked on for the other parts in our app. Brian was able to get the authentication services working, so we're able to personalize the experience a little bit more and pass the information from the authenticated user to the front end. The bulk of my work done this week was done on this wellness questionnaire. It's composed of a bootstrap radio button group as well as a carousel that the user can use to move between different questions. The questions are retrieved from a database, and the radio buttons are meant to serve as a user input. It probably took me a few days to actually get this working correctly, but I'm happy with the progress made on it so far, and I'm planning to finish it up here shortly. I also have plans to improve on it as we close up on the following sprint. There are some UI problems, such as the radio buttons not working or only working as intended on the first slide, but I hope to solve this as I implement a controller to handle the responses. Some other smaller bugs I've worked on this week is fixing some of the links in our header. Previously, they were all dead links. They're not perfect now, but at least they're functional, and ideally, these would also fit better as we build out the app, and it'll land to our other features like forums, libraries, and the messaging function. I've also fixed some of the HTMLs in our application to actually use and implement the timely fragments for common header, footer, and the default layout. I'll show you in some of the code. We'll start showing off the code by displaying how the questionnaire database is currently set up. I have a table for questions and another table for responses. For each question, there are four responses that are weighted. The question ID is a foreign key so that the responses are able to be linked to the corresponding question. I've created classes for questionnaires and additional classes for questionnaire service, a repository, and some adjustments to the home controller in the HTML. In the home HTML, you can see where the carousel and the radio buttons are located. I plan to use JavaScript to hopefully keep track of which button was pressed so that when we create the controller that recommends the article from the library, it can do so by scoring the responses and recommending the appropriate topic. Just going to click through some of the classes here so that you can take a quick peek at some of the code. The questionnaire class is currently only modeled to include the questions. I plan on implementing and running the functions needed for user input. The repository and service is currently pretty basic as you can see here. Now, home controller had to make sure to call an instance the questionnaire service, and after doing so, I'm able to pass the database info to our front end. In addition to fleshing out the questionnaire to include more logic, we also plan on adding somewhat of a therapist avatar to be a companion. Uh, Thank you for taking the time to watch, Professor, and we're excited to see what we'll be able to show you in the future and just as we get more comfortable with the development. Thank you.